Hi there, guys. God bless each and every one of you, you and yours. I don't know if you've heard the news over here in the UK relating to the evil and demonic sort of application of the soon to be digital ID for every single Briton. Going to be looking at this particular article from a few angles, and first want to cover some other headlines of the day before we get into this particular space around this. Here we go. A strong and shallow 6.3 earthquake hits Venezuela few hours after the magnitude 6.2. Interesting things happening there as we're looking at the sort of like earth groaning and the people alongside it as well. Here you go. In other news, what is the real reason why have hundreds of generals and admirals suddenly been summoned for a mysterious meeting in Virginia? Interesting. An unprecedented gathering of generals and admirals will be happening in Virginia next week, and the purpose of the meeting is a huge mystery. This has sparked a frenzy of speculation on social media, but we still aren't getting any answers. Hopefully, we will get an explanation soon, because things are going to start to get weird. First, the Department of Defense was renamed the Department of War. And then President Trump boldly declared that Ukraine can win the war against Russia and take back all of the territory that Russia has conquered. Of course, that wouldn't be possible unless NATO forces got directly involved. So, are we going to war soon? There are some that believe that this is the real reason why this mysterious gathering of generals and admirals has been scheduled for next week. Keep coming back to it. Summit this way comes, guys. All right. Here we go. John Brown Gun Club posting, hey, fascists catch flyers on Georgetown campus to recruit members, celebrates when Nazis die. We're just seeing all of this sort of like distraction and diversion tactics with this particular story with Charlie Kirk and his wife, and then other things surrounding all of this. Just not even going to fall for their countermeasures. Not going to go there. Here in other news, terror from within. Oklahoma National Guardsman has been arrested after trying to arm Al Qaeda, exposing Islam's grip on our military. It's really troubling, isn't it? US jets scrambled to intercept Russian warplanes off Alaska amid growing incidents. This is the storyline that you really want to be paying attention to, guys. It's what's going to be happening over in Alaska and around the Greenland area. And then you're going to get Trump turning around and saying, well, in order to sort of like keep American sovereignty, we're going to have kind of like Greenland. And whilst we're at it, we may as well just take Canada as well and just seal the deal when it comes to the Club of Rome's first kingdom. We're just seeing that there amid ongoing tensions between the West and Russia. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, scrambled American fighter jets to identify and intercept 4 Russian warplanes flying near Alaska. This is what Russia always likes to do occasionally, test the rapid reaction force, see if they're still sleeping, see what they're getting away with, just sort of like, very passive aggressive. They have been, like we reported yesterday, circulating and sort of like invading European airspace as well. Other countries that have had that with those nations coming out saying, no, you do it again, we're going to shoot you out of the sky. Very provocative measures from Russia. So have to keep our eye on some of those things here. And this is when we've got, the absolute monstrosity. No matter what people call it, the land never was and never will be Palestine. Had Hitler not committed suicide in his bunker and survived the war, would he have been a candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize? Of course not. So why in the world is Palestine being recognized as a state almost 2 years after the bloody murders of October the 7th, 2023 by Hamas, and with still hostages being kept in Gaza? Are we rewarding terrorism, rape, murder, and hostage taking? It appears so. And we, negotiate with terrorists. You come out with that policy by saying yes to the Palestinian Authority, demanding full recognition. We absolutely are. And that is more problematic than people realize. Please do see our sort of like video around that the other day, as well as the, you know, sort of like posts that we put on our community post. And here you go. This is when it really sort of like gets more down the road of the dark side. The World Health Organization, UNICEF, DTP vaccination program throughout the developing world is a crime against humanity. Absolutely. So they're rolling it out. The World Health Organization, under pressure from the Gates Foundation, do you know what I mean, uses DTP vaccination coverage rates to measure whether a country is meeting its vaccination goals and is thus eligible for additional funding. It's just like really murderous individuals, given that the DTP shots kill 5 times more children than it saves. The World Health Organization, UNICEF vaccine program throughout the developing world is a crime against humanity that must be prosecuted by the International Crime Court. These guys are still rolling this out, man. It's evil. And there's more when we come over to what this stupid country is doing as well. Here you go. Russia exposes the USA's 37 trillion financial reset plan. Not going to go into that, but there's the headline. Enjoy. And here you go. Weaponized lies inside the FBI's corrupt hate crime statistics against white Americans. Really interesting what Hillary Clinton was turning around and blaming white Americans and Christians for. We'll cover that in a little bit of in a while. In fact, whilst we're actually on that monster, let's go and have a little look-see. She was rumored as saying Hillary Clinton warns against the rise of Christianity. Are you kidding me? The rise of Islam, sweetheart. What planet are you on? How this woman was walking around free, I don't know. With all of the monstrous things that she does behind the scenes. Hillary Clinton is warning against the rise of Christianity and claims that white Christian men are causing such damage to the United States. Talking on Morning Joe, she says the idea you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was dominated by, let's say it, white men of certain persuasion, certain religion, certain ideology. It's just doing such damage to what we should be aiming for. Do you know what I mean? It's just like the narration and the ignorance of that particular individual. In other news here, Feds building sex trafficking RICO case against the Kardashians, and they're saying that it's worse than Diddy informant's claim. Yes, we all remember, you know, the Kardashians and those sort of like really annoying individuals, that whole family, everyone wanting to sort of like look and watch their shallow little lives. Yes, and don't forget, you know, Mr. Kardashian, the guy that was really instrumental in burying O.J. Simpson sort of like evidence. Yeah, that guy. In other news, sorry, I'm really wound up today. Astronomers warn 3IA Atlas appears to be under intelligent control after 2 bizarre discoveries. Some people saying this is slowing down. It's sort of like doing a few crazy little things. Keeping our eye on the skies as well. And here you go. This is when it gets like really sick. This is what happened when, you know, you just have. I'll leave you to decide. All right. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner's daughter calls for the United Nations to enforce permanent global mask mandate. Do you know what I mean? We ain't going there no more. All right, and here you go. Will Tony Blair's dream of digital ID cards become a reality? Yes, that's literally what is happening. We're going to be looking at a couple of articles about how Starmer faces a furious backlash over digital ID card proposal. And here we go. We're talking about what this stupid country is literally doing now. UK boosts pandemic readiness with Moderna's new mRNA vaccine factory. An American vaccine firm has opened the first mRNA manufacturing plant in Britain against a backdrop of increasing anti-jab rhetoric in the US. The new facility located in Oxfordshire is part of a $1 billion investment. None of us want any of these vaccines. We don't want your digital ID, and we don't want to put our support out for a 2-state solution. These guys do not literally represent us. And this is when it gets really hilarious. Okay, talk about sort of like, say what they're now down. All right, war criminal Tony Blair wants to run Gaza when the war ends. You can't make this up. Literally cannot make this up. Okay, just want to take us to some things relating to, you know, the articles surrounding the digital ID, guys. This is what's being literally rolled out. Starmer faces furious backlash over digital ID card proposal. And everywhere I'm looking and I'm searching for these, there are so many sort of like pictures and memes on X and just so many wanting to have a petition about it. Here's the link to the petition. You can sign this and say that you don't want this and call for a vote or call for it never to be implemented. And there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of signatures already. Nobody in this country wants digital ID. We have spoken out against this so frequently and for years. And here you go. Apparently, a digital ID is going to prevent immigrants. Are you kidding me? This is all adults. Yeah, some of us thought it might just be for those guys, maybe for the immigrants, and maybe for those on benefits. But no, this is punishing absolutely everybody. And I am telling you right here and right now that this brick card, okay, please see our video guides around it. This brick card will literally have Palantir technology within it, and you'll be putting the Trojan horse on your phone device and you're done. They will be able to manipulate and control and listen and track and survey everything. Because once they've got the brick card, hey, we'll just, you know, probably give you a few updates, just like they did the boosters, so that you can have the digital wallet in there as well when vaccine status. So they can have all of your information on there. They can also do that with social credit score system. Crash everything in that particular way so that you can get the CBDCs. And then you're literally done for. I'm telling you, it is absolutely terrifying what Starmer has literally done to this country in the space of 24 hours. I honestly thought that there would be a false flag or a black swan event that would force this into being, and that's how you get people compliant. But they haven't even done it this way. Not even apologetic. This is, I'm telling you, this will cause civil war in this country. Need to give you guys a little bit of a refresh as to what this digital ID literally will mean for you and I. Number one, loss of privacy. Every move, every purchase and interaction will be logged and monitored, everything. And they're saying that it's only going to be used for new tenancy agreements or new jobs. Twaddle. Number two, centralized control. Whoever runs the system holds enormous power over your daily life. Palantir, telling you right now. Number three, data breaches. Huge databases are irresistible targets for hackers risking your identity. Number four, exclusion. This is what it's really all about. No ID, no access. People could be locked out of work, healthcare, travel, or even shopping. And they'll connect all of this to absolutely everything. You're going to need digital ID to, access YouTube. You'll need it to access the news. Your doctors, your banking, everything will go through this particular app. I'm telling you guys, if you have this in your possession, you're done for. I put in the community post last night. Do not comply with this. Whatever consequences are there. At the moment, in other European countries, they will give fines in some cases, or they'll actually detain you until they can verify your identity. Suck it up. I'm sorry, man, but I've got a passport. I've got a driving license. Okay, I've got enough evidence to prove my identity. You don't need this governmental overreach, because this is what they're really pushing for. It is the most demonic move this country has made in many a year. And it is the foundational block to the mark of the beast. I'm telling you, when you are going to have the other factor of that, which comes to exclusion. Bill Gates and Peter Thiel are literally the ones with this brick card and the technology. And he's already saying, Ursula von der Leyen, unless you have the Bill Gates digital ID, you'll be excluded from society. You won't be able to access anything. You won't be able to go everywhere. We'll live in a papers, please environment, having to prove our identity, having to sort of have checkpoints and things of that sort. just for a few individuals that they could quite easily get out of the country, turn them back, but they don't want to. Again, using sort of like a really small microscopic part of the society and just implementing that for absolutely everybody. Again, the minority destroys the majority. Again, the minority, the 1% of evil, demonic global elites are just wrecking this country and turning it inside out. And it makes me angry in terms of what's being done. This arrogance from the beast system, it's advancing, it's pushing, it's taking away all of the freedoms that we as a country have fought very hard to maintain and have, going to other countries and encouraging them to empower their own citizens in this particular way. If you're in an elected position, you are a public figure. Your life should be transparent. We civilians are not in a public place at all. We are private citizens. So you don't need to know nothing about us. And then you're going to get given the police, and the absolutely paramilitary police, as they literally are, will be given even more sweeping, more powers. This will literally be the erosion of all freedom. Once digital ID becomes required, reversing it will be impossible. Digital ID is being pushed in the name of convenience and security, but in reality, it hands unprecedented control to governments, corporations, and unelected bodies. Once it is in place, they can decide who gets to participate in society and who doesn't. Can anyone please say Revelation 13:16, causing all, both great and small, to see how this is? So the digital public infrastructure, which includes the digital ID, the digital passports, and the vaccine status, CBDCs, and the social credit scores. All of those are the external versions of the mark of the beast. They'll put all of that into the chip or whatever it'll be, quantum dot tattoo, barcodes, or whatever, luciferase lot. Stick that in under your skin. Either Jeff Bezos or sort of like Bill Gates' Synchron or Elon Musk's Neuralink. And then you got Sam Altman's one as well, as Peter Thiel. Do you know what I mean? All of these guys are invested into all of that. This is that first step towards it all. Not being able to sort of like, buy or go out unless you have this. It's absolutely monstrous, family. I'm telling you, it's so, I can't tell you how evil this really is. So what could digital ID mean for you? Data breaches, identity theft, fraud, government overreach. Is that not a prime example of that? Political restriction, privacy violations, freedom loss, resource divisions, trust erosion, social inequality, corporate power, surveillance state, human rights abuses, social credit systems, totalitarian state, and a cashless society. Unbelievable. All right, we're going to get into this particular article in a moment. I want to be keeping my sort of like just down to sort of like a healthy level, guys. I've been reporting on this for years, and I honestly did not think that they would do this. I thought that this would be the first thing that they'd use as a reason. Like, the church has gone, fine, we'll roll this out. Cannot tell you the monstrosity and of this in the hands of these evil Fabian Marxists. Awful. Hi Ash. Hi. So you guys got a lot to say. Hi Sylvia. Hi Sherry. Thank you for being here, keeping us a safe space. Ain't gonna have many of those anymore. Hi Alison. Good to see you. Bless you guys. Sylvia saying, not why, because Jesus is near, but cannot fear. I'm concerned about brothers and sisters in the UK. I'm telling you, we are in so much trouble. It's unreal. And it's not just the kind of like digital ID. It's the online safety bill, but then also what is coming out in after that as well, the online and policing bill. That policing bill is what will lock you up. All right, they're charging everybody. All right, they're charging and they're locking up people, knocking on their door, pounding on their door, thousands upon thousands of people for posts that they create, for videos that they make, it's only a matter of time until I'm thrown in jail. I'm telling you that right now. By the grace of God, I haven't had one of them knocking on my door just yet. Having chats with the team yesterday saying we've got to really reorganize what happens, because I cannot have this digital ID. I will not comply in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to encourage people here to say, no, respect your freedom, respect your rights, and then be teeth-faced and have one of those on my own. I can't. No matter what consequences I have to face for not having it, I'm not having it. Because I know that that train goes right towards the mark of the beast. That's the end in sight. I ain't going nowhere near that train. I ain't even stepping on it, thinking that I'm going to be able to get off that at another point. So I'm going to have to make some serious decisions about my finances, about my own sort of like freedoms, what it is that I can and can't do now. I'm telling you right now, it's absolutely awful. It is terrifying what they're doing over here in the UK. Terrifying. And on a spiritual level, for me, that turning of the corner over the last 24 hours is awful. Yep, smoke and mirrors. Again, under the pretense that this is about immigration. Really? Just the most evil people you can conceive of. They hate this country so much. This is what you would want to do to the country. You'd want to bleed it out like this, sabotage it, destroy it, and you know what I mean, allow it to just to implode and then explode on you. It's absolutely awful. That's why we went through so many British prime ministers, because so many of them are like, yeah, I'm not down with that, mate. I'm sorry, no can do. But this absolute so-and-so of a monster, Keir Starmer, you know, is the one that went to Davos 6 months before his appointment and was like, oh, yeah, we want to play a little bit more of a significant part here, you know, as a signal of intent, me and Rachel Reeves. 6 months later, he's in there, you know, destroys farming, destroys, you know, I mean, fishing, destroys agriculture, lies to the students, comes out with sort of like euthanasia bills and all of that sort of stuff, over taxes. And now this, added to the online safety bill, added to the policing crime bill as well. Literally having the arrogance, first day on the job, literally saying to the whole country, we are going to be making changes. If you don't like the changes, the door's there, get out. Like that. Who talks to his own? He's a public servant. Who talks to their own people? He is aching to Hitler. I kid you not. And then allowing what, £1 billion sort of like investment with like Moderna and mRNA vaccines in that particular way, permitting Bill Gates to spray our skies with poisons and call it Satan. We are in deep shit. I'm going to say it. All right, we're in deep shit over here. My days. Penal colony. Hi, no names. Bless you. Sorry, please forgive me, guys, for my animation. I really care about what they're doing to people. These tyrannies that they're literally placing on folk. Really care of how that's going to really damage and really hurt so many. It's going to, and this tech and this brick card will be a Trojan horse on your device. And to see what's already done to me in advance. And so what's on its way, leaving everyone who's a content creator living in fear that there's going to be a knock on the door or a letter through the post. You've had like Katie Hopkins literally being arrested right now, and she's soon to be charged for speaking out on her podcast about immigration. Tommy Robinson, also another guy. I don't necessarily agree with these folks, but they're speaking about the same issues that we are speaking out against. The Islamification of this country and the taking over. Why? Because this British culture and identity has to be completely desecrated for them to literally rejoin the European bloc, the second kingdom of the Club of Rome. All right, this is literally what they're doing it, and we're seeing this take shape. It is terrifying how this is going to destroy every fabric of society, cause such civil war, such division. There will be so much violence. Already they're sort of like, you know, creating sort of like rallies and everything of this sort. Nobody wants it. You turn around and have like 9 out of 10 people in this country, all right, and do not want a Palestinian state. Doesn't that tell you something? And the 1/10 probably was all of the Muslims that were like, yeah, man, I think it's a great idea. But that's what democracy could be and should be about. The people don't want it none. We don't want this none. We don't want the online safety bills. We don't want some of that stuff. Leave it to parenting. Ain't got nothing to do with protecting children when you're offering them death in euthanasia bills. You're trying to sterilize them and confuse them from such a young age with their sexual identity with the alphabet people. Let alone the fact that all of you are perverts anyway, and you just want to sort of like, you know, come out as pedos, drinking children's bloods and sacrificing them and sticking them in the sex trade, etc. These are the real criminals here, and this is how you're treated as a civilian, as a law-abiding citizen, speaking out against this. Oh no, this is we are literally nearly neck and neck with China. Unbelievable. Hi, Cher. Bless you. Goose for Badan. Hi, Wendy. Bless you. Great to have you with us. Thank you for being here. Sorry, I'm animated today because my country's going down. Mayday, mayday, mayday. You know? Yeah. Wendy, we need the Lord to come, because this is it. I honestly didn't think that they would do this so quickly. Really didn't. I thought our exit would implement this. Yeah. Yeah, this is it. It's very true, Sylvia. Yeah. I love our Father. The closer I've gotten to him over the years, the more he has shown me. At times, I wish I hadn't. But we needed to see the truth and those of Satan. That's a really good point. That's part of what we want to be doing here, guys. It's not easy coming out and calling all of this out, being animated by this. But you read the Holy Word of God, and you know, other men and women and others were also grieving over the state of their land, grieving over what was happening to it, the darkness, the evil, the depravity, the control, the manipulation, coercion, and death culture. They grieved over all of those things. There's no different to what we're having now, caring that people are free, caring that people have an informed decision, caring that people, you know, can make their own choice on their, you know, bodily autonomy or their, you know, freedom of movements and freedom of speeches. I'm telling you right now, man, if I didn't have kids, I'd be off this island. I'd be gone. I'd be like, leave it to it, man. Seriously. Hi, staff. Bless you. Good to see you guys. Yeah, Cher, we've got to be gone soon. Got to be. Just do not know when. But I'm telling you, it's going to get a lot worse before any of that goes down. Okay, you guys have a good old chat. Okay, Wendy's saying, people here in my apartment building are shocked I am not in a harry-carry mess because the rapture didn't happen a day ago. Jesus will come when he's going to come. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit that I be honest about. I'm very fortunate in focusing on the beast system that I don't have those things. That's why, you know, maybe the Lord was like giving me nightmares and everything as opposed to like dreams of confirmation. He's given me this endurance, he's given me this persistence and stuff, and I'm just going to roll out with it. I do sympathize and empathize with that. I also just have to say that I think Michael did a really good way of being really honorable in his last video and how he conducted himself. And I respect any man that leaves it all out on the field, win, lose or draw. Respect. I know that might have hurt a lot of people, and I do get that. But no judgment and no condemnation from here, from us as a channel. Nothing but love, nothing but grace, nothing but mercy and kindness and compassion. And that goes to all of those that also hurt him, that are also disappointed, feeling like they got stood up. And it really adds to the sort of like, you know, hurt when you come out with articles and news like this as well, because it's just like, oh, great, now we've got to endure all of this now. But God is in control. God is in control. and he will make a way. That's what I was praying this morning. Lord, I don't see the alternative, just like temptation. He provides a way out of it. I'm not seeing a way out of what this beast system is really doing at the moment. Our prayers, in my case, don't avail very much when I'm praying against all of these particular things. The momentum to this beast system is so dramatic. Doesn't seem to be stopping, doesn't seem to be slowing down, doesn't seem to be being pushed back. And it's getting harder and harder as a watchman to expose these evils without them cutting off our lives, removing our views so we don't grow, we can't gain any traction, everything. The monstrosity of this system is absolutely awful. And yeah, as Sherry's saying, yeah, never give up. Don't go placing your hope and your trust in those things. But I also see that there's a lot of hurting people out there, a lot of hurting people, and that's fair enough. Thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, don't be sorry, Dan. We are all in the boat together. Absolutely. No, believe in him. I'm not stealing anyone's joy on that particular regard. Okay, let's come back to this article. Here you go. Starmer faces furious backlash over digital ID card proposal. Yeah, the UK Prime Minister Adolf Starmer seems to be uniting Britons in ways he never expected. The Labour leader is facing a massive backlash from all sides, including his own party, over his proposals for digital ID cards. The digital ID is supposed to be limited to adults seeking work, but supporters, including Sir Tony War Criminal Blair Institute, believe it could be expanded into a super digital ID card that could be used to access all public services, from claiming benefits to reporting potholes. And this will be it. So if you're over here, most of you have to use the government website. So when I pay my council tax, that's it. When I'm paying and sending money to my children, that's it. A government website and payment method that way. So you use that. If you're a family member, then you'll get tax credits or family tax credits. You'll get them from there. And if you're on benefits, you'll get that. If you're a pension, you get that. And then if you want to do your own banking and your employment, then you're going to need that as well. So it's literally every application, and it will start turning around to you and saying, oh, I'm sorry, you can't have this because of your carbon footprint or your political views or this, whatever, or you're outside of your parameters that we allow you to have. Oh, sorry, you can't access Bible Gateway because that's so terrifying for people to be reading the holy word of God that we have to banish that from this particular nation. This is where it's going, guys. The digital ID to be made law for all adults in the UK, not just the immigrants. What a load of nonsense that was. Oh yeah, this online safety bill is just for children. No, it's not. It's for content creators. Liar, liar, pants on fire. And there it goes for all. That terminology that they love to sort of like spout out, don't they? Causes all, both great and small. The proposals are the government's latest attempt to tackle illegal immigration. And do you think that digital ID cards are going to do that? When people were still working for Deliveroo and cash in hand or whatever, with the ID serving as a form of proof of the right to live and work in the UK. When you go to an interview, you have to take your passport, your driving license, utility bills. Is that not enough ID? What more do you want? More than 600,000 people have already signed a petition on the government's website demanding Starmer not to introduce digital ID cards. And they'll ignore it. They won't even have the discussion. They will ignore it. They don't give a hoot. And there was another petition on there the other day that turned around and says, please do not go punishing individuals with fines, imprisonment, or exclusion if they do not have your digital ID card. And you know what the outcome of that is? They didn't even talk about it in the House of Commons. They didn't even have the discussion, despite the hundreds of thousands of signatures that it actually had. They just outrightly rejected it. So just look out there now when it comes to the consequences of not having this, guys. It's going to be extreme, and I'm going to take the fines. If I get into debt because I'm not having their sort of like ID, fair enough. If I get detained, fair enough. That's just how it's going to be. The Telegraph reports the Prime Minister has announced his backing for a Brit card. Please see our video. Sherry, could you put the Brit card video in from Rumble into the live stream, please? Lovely. All right. And please see that. Okay, to verify people's right to live and work in the UK as part of efforts to stop illegal migrants working in the black economy. Absolute nonsense. But the proposals are prompting criticism from backbench MPs who are concerned about the impact on privacy and warn that it could become a dystopian mess. Of course it will. Clive Lewis, the MP for Norwich South, said, "This is what happens when you outsource your policy programme to the Tony Blair Institute. Corporations and tech billionaires." Can you imagine, you imagine Klaus Schwab at the moment rubbing his hands with glee. And what was Larry Fink turning around and saying about, not being compliant with the Great Reset? There'll be huge repercussions and they're going to be enforcing their will, talking about pushing this down the throats of Brits. Any trade unions, civil society organizations and campaign groups opposing this dystopian mess, count me in. Absolutely. Please sign petitions. If you're here in the UK, Nadie Whitome, the MP for Nottingham East, added, "If we're going to reheat Blair-era policies, can we please focus on lifting children out of poverty instead of this divisive authoritarian nonsense?" The proposals were also criticised by Jeremy Corbyn, the former Labour leader. Interesting. Mr. Corbyn said it is excessive state interference and must be resisted. So let's have a little look-see at some of this. Keir Starmer is set to announce plans for a mandatory, not even choice, no options. Can you imagine what this guy's going to do if there's another pandemic? It's mandatory for everybody. And literally getting this digital ID stuff all ready there now for the vaccine card. Can you not just see how close this is getting to the mark of the beast, guys? And that technology that is literally waiting in the wings. They have got to go through these motions first of all. They've got to get everyone with a digital ID, put your vaccine status in there and all of your IDs, everything about you, although that will only tell you on your screen what it is that they know about you. But the Trojan horse, the Palantir technology, as the government signs its 24th contract with them, and Bill Gates, as well as Larry Fink and everything BlackRock owns, as well as the WEF, all into all of this. Been able to sort of like put the banking in on there now for you as well. You're going to be excluded for this, I'm telling you. Keir Starmer is set to announce plans for a mandatory national digital ID system dubbed the Brit Card, in a move critics say strips away freedoms and paves the way for unprecedented state control. The scheme will require every adult in Britain to hold a digital identity card. Good luck with that, which must be presented when applying for work or renting a home. Please pray for us as a ministry, all right, that I don't have to go down these roads. Employers and landlords would then check details against a central government database. Why? Labour insists the plan will help tackle illegal immigration. Come on. This is what's so annoying, is that they think we're stupid. Oh, we'll just blame it on illegal immigration. And then, do you know what I mean? Any excuse. And then in about, a couple of years' time, they'll be like, yeah, it really wasn't about illegal immigration after all. Never mind. Like they're doing with the blimmin' COVID jabs and everything of that sort, with the FDA and the CDC saying they're not safe. The slow reveal. Liar, liar, pants on fire, right up until then. Implement it, force it on everybody, and then own up afterwards. But opponents warn the system represents an alarming encroachment on privacy and personal freedoms. I ain't having it. No, I don't care what they do to me. You want to stick me in jail? I'll go and live. I'll go and live there then, mate. Not having it. Passports already exist. Why do we need another form of compulsory ID? This is the thin end of the wedge. Once they're in place, they will be linked to bank accounts, used to track travel, or even measure how far you drive from home and charge you per mile under the climate line. Civil liberties groups argue the dangers are vast. Who will have access to this treasure trove of personal data? Palantir, Bill Gates, Larry Fink, BlackRock, World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, and the pathetic, futile UN, just to name a few, let alone all their secret societies and all of the other sort of like technologies that they don't really let us Brits know what it's all about, but we know what they're on. So who will have access to this treasure trove of personal data? The National Health Service, for one. Already got that with Palantir, haven't they? Police, credit card companies, foreign governments. Once the system exists, there's no limit to its use and no guarantee it won't be hacked or stolen. Labour has tried this before. In 2009, the first Labour government introduced ID cards only for them to be scrapped by the Conservative-led coalition on the grounds that they were back then an erosion of civil liberties. Many see Starmer's revival of the idea as proof he is more interested in appeasing globalist backers than protecting the British public. They cause the problem, and then, you know what I mean, problem, reaction, solution, every time. Every government does that. And I'm sure that was a nice little conversation that Trump had with Starmer as well, with Charles. All of these guys getting in on this. The claim that this is about illegal immigration is the biggest lie of all. If it were true, why make law-abiding citizens carry a digital ID to get a job or rent a flat? This is about monitoring ordinary people, nothing more and nothing less. Edward Oakenfold, a director at the Great British Pack, said, in effect, because of this government's abject failure to stop the boats course, Keir Starmer is forcing the rest of us law-abiding citizens to be digitally identified everywhere we go. This is truly draconian. Even within Labour, there is unease. Yvette Cooper was long sceptical about ID cards, preferring to strengthen visa systems. But Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has been outspoken in her support. Earlier this month, she insisted, I do think digital ID has a role to play for dealing with our immigration. Please. Britain remains one of the few European nations without a mandatory national ID card system. And many believe that this is a freedom worth keeping. As one privacy campaigner puts it, Labour scrapped our freedoms once again. The question is now whether voters will let them do it again. The Prime Minister is expected to announce today his backing in principle for his so-called Brit card. All right. Digital ID, global socialists have planned this for decades. What happens next is scary. It's been a global socialist plan for as long as I can remember, Mr. War Criminal Tony Blair, but it's just one element of an overarching system that should rightly terrify you. And here we go, the holy word of God, Revelation 13:16. And this is in the article, ukreloaded.com. So when you get non-Christians making the connect, what should that tell us, fam? Revelation 13:16. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This guy writes, I was hiking up Mount Toubkal in the Atlas Mountains with my good friend John. Sleeping in a high altitude climber's cabin, swaddled in thermals and within the cocoons of our sleeping bags, I would get him to talk to me about the Bible. John, as well as being an earnest believer, can also recite and interpret both the Old and New Testaments like a religious Wikipedia page. Once we had done the greatest hits, Joseph and his dreams, Noah and the ark, David and Goliath, I couldn't help but draw him to the topic of the book of Revelation. It is, after all, the most enigmatic, weird, colourful, and bizarre of all the Bible's books, and lays out what the end times will look like. Heavy stuff, even for a God botherer. I was still a Christian newbie back then and took all my teachings with a shovel of salt. But even still, the verse that has stood out all those years since is Revelation 13:16. Because how the hell did John of Patmos, not my mate, but 2,000 years ago, in his eschatological foretellings, envision a time when humans would require some sort of entity on their wrists to buy stuff? Well, if you've got an Apple Watch or whatnot, you are probably already paying for stuff with your wrist. But it is not a requirement at the moment for all of us. Call me superstitious or even plain balmy, but I have no intention of ever getting a smart watch or a ring that gives me a score on how well I'm sleeping or whether I'm about to have a flipping heart attack. I find the whole combination of digital data overload and instant gratification rather ghoulish, and would rather not summon the apocalypse, just in case. But resistance is proving to be somewhat futile. It all started with COVID passports. Now, I'm a huge fan of digitalization of medical records and using AI to predict public health outcomes, innovative diagnostics, and underwrite huge advancements in medical technology. But being made to demonstrate I had been vaccinated in order to buy a stupid coffee in France, particularly after it emerged the jab that I had, this guy, not me, AstraZeneca could render women unable to carry a child, felt and frankly was plain wrong. Let's not get started on the mRNA jab. As I often say in my writings, that's a whole other piece for another day. Well, since then, the WHO have forged a treaty essentially demanding cooperation amongst its signatories when the next pandemic occurs. Of course, the UK hungrily scribbled the allegiance. Now Starmer and his global socialist, beloved international laws means he's bestie with King Tedros of the pandemic, can administer all sorts of prophylactic measures in a crisis. And whoever is in charge must technically acquiesce. Then we have been told, we of the self-employed set, that we have to now digitize all of our tax returns. Instead of collecting files of receipts and taking a highlighter pen to bank statements in the New Year frenzy, while our frazzled accountants implore us not to leave it until the last minute next year, instead, we will just use a snappy little app to record all our incomes and outgoings, invoices and what notary that HMRC can super plug into. Ta-da! Easy all round. Easy for me to spare humanity the 30th January panic dash. Easy for taxmen to catch the con man, and easy for the global socialists to see whether during the next lockdown I was buying stuff that looks a little bit too much like having fun. And so now Starmer is finally going to realize Tony Blair's dream. Not of ID cards, which I find hard to grumble about when we already have passports and driving license, and Mohammed brings his eighth wife's mother over for free surgery paid for by us. But it will, of course, be digital, because monitoring us all is the only way to stop invading fighting age men from breaching our boundaries. It stinks and you know it. I know it and they know it. Because why have banking apps, accounting apps, which will have to be linked to the banking apps, NHS apps, which will have to link to the accounting apps for calculating days worked and sickness compensation for tax purposes, and then digital ID, which will have to link to the NHS app to ensure Mem Sab Fatima is entitled to have her gallstones removed at St. Thomas's Hospital, when you have one big, beautiful app for the lot of it all. Logical, right? And before you even know it, hey presto, we have the Chinese social credit score system. Thank you for that, where the compliance of businesses and individuals is monitored via big data surveillance and AI to render scores on financial records, social media activities, and public behavior, and generate blacklists, with obedient servants of the state having access to loans and holidays, while wrong-uns can be dealt with accordingly. These are the things that are inevitable. Build it, and they will come. So before suddenly finding freedom is a fiction of the past, I can't help but go back to Revelation. Because when we allow agency and free will to be turned into a hierarchical control system with the state at the top, we neglect our own capability as compassionate, empathic, intelligent beings, being made in the beautiful image of God, bound by independence and individual sovereignty. We do, as the Bible foretells, invite something rather unhuman and inhumane into our lives. There you go. And at the bottom of that article is a petition saying, do not introduce digital ID cards. We demand that the UK government immediately commits to not introducing a digital ID cards. Hoping that some of you guys, if you are over here in the UK, that you give your John Hancock to that. Okay, let's see where you guys literally are with some of these things. Just want to say I love you all, guys. Thank you. Just love you. You know, all of this nasty that's going on, all this bitchy, horrible, awful side. But I love you. Yeah, no named, I agree. Birth pains ain't started yet. Not even there. But this goes somewhat towards that. Okay, have a bit of a deep and meaningful there. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Mian. Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Shay, for putting that video in. Really important, guys, that you see the video that we put together pertaining to Brick Card already. I will be putting a sort of community post in after this. Oh, bless you, Mian. Thank you for trying to share our channel and our ministry. Thank you. Yeah, Cher saying this is all the beast system. Satan needs this control because he's not the creator. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. You're not a name on a bit of paper. Simple. Like we were saying the other day, get to know some people. All right, get to know some of the people around you. You know, like in your shops, places that you go to frequently. Make yourself known. So you just get out of that, and there'll be more relational on that. I make a real effort with those that are around here in the community. I build those relationships up, and I, give them that time, and they end up confiding in me and sharing, and I know what's going on in their life. And then there's extra consideration that's just given. It's just how we've got to be as the church. We've got to be separate from this, guys. We really do. Good morning, Popple Backyard Farm. Bless you. Thank you for being here with us as well. All you guys, thank you for your, sort of like, kindness in continuing to support our ministry. Right, having revival conversations. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you had a good chat with your daughter. Hey, well done, Wendy. That's really great. Being debt free. Praise the Lord for that. Well done. It's not easy getting out of that, because that's another form of slavery, isn't it? Another form of them controlling you, you know, in that particular way. So well done. It took me a long time to get rid of my student debts. Oh, bless you. Yeah. Wendy's saying some people whose hearts are not truly right, what did they do? Got themselves in debt thinking they would have to pay it back. Yeah, some people have just done that, haven't they? Jumped the gun thinking, well, I ain't going to be around to have to pay or deal with the consequences. That's just, it's not very clever, really. You know, and being beholden to that, it is another form of slavery. It really is, you know. So I'm glad I don't have that. And that's why my credit rating is so bad. That's how the system is. It's just like, you know, I can drive a car, but I haven't got one. And it's like, if I wanted to hire one, my credit score rating isn't there, despite the fact that I don't owe anybody any money at all. My credit rating isn't there because I don't get in debt, and I don't have like credit cards and all of that, which really helps with your credit rating. But then I've got a mobile phone that's under that type of contract, and I've never defaulted on any of my bills. So it's like, why is my credit rating there? Because I'm not part of the system. They want to control you. They want to get you into debt. It is so oppressive and depressing. Debt. It's awful. It's like shackles around your feet. So well done for being free of that. Yeah, Cher saying that's a good thing that came out of the Joshua thing. Open conversations have brought awareness. It's good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Alison. Hi, Alison. Ursula von der Leyen was laughing when everyone was booing her Dystopia. She's the one that's been promoting it as well. Bill Gates, BlackRock, we've name dropped the companies. It's absolutely terrifying what they're going to literally be doing with this technology now. They're not trustworthy with any of the technology, you know, and it's just like, if it really does get down to, I'm not messing about, guys. This would only be the deal breaker for me ministerially. I was talking to some of the team yesterday thinking, okay, if they do this, how do we bypass this? How can I still get that done? Because what happens if I'm not able to do any emails, or I'm not able to send a video to some of you guys across the pond or whatever, and then you upload it for us from that end? What happens if I can't do that? I'm not getting this digital ID. It's as simple as that. I'm just not complying with it in any way. Come over, yeah, come over, Dan. Bring the whole family. We'll take care of you. A couple of days by the mountains, a couple of days by the lake, a couple of days at Tudor Cottage. Ordinarily, I would, you know. Ordinarily, I would, guys. But I've got my two babies. I've got my two daughters, and they're my prodigal girls, really. And I'm, you know, I was once a prodigal son myself. The Lord got a hold of me, and now I'm prodigal dad, and I'm here literally half a mile away from them, and you know, that's my job. I can't leave them as much as I really would want to. You know, I prefer just to be on a boat and sail around the world, you know, just doing the same ministry, but it's on a boat. That's my ultimate dream. But that requires money, that requires expense, and it's just not the right time. And this is where the Lord's got me. Really blessed where I do live, in one of the most you know, beautiful parts of the world in Devon. And it's absolutely beautiful, prayer walks and places like that. So I'm really, really blessed. But the pinch is going to come, and there's going to be some big decisions that are going to need to be made. And I'm already starting to have those with some of the team, how it is I can get the work out. But if the option is that or nothing, then I would literally pay off my phone bill. I'd pay it all off, and then I'd be done with all tech. Tough. I'd be done with all of it, and I'd just stay put. So really, really scary where this is all going. The arrogance of the beast system literally pushing us to the degree it is. Hi there, Cindy. Good to see you. Yeah, I can see them as emergency fund. Yeah, some of you guys have got that. I don't have that. I live hand to mouth at the moment. I'm very blessed. So I don't have any of that. I just have a go bag ready to go in a moment's notice if it does hit the fan. That's what I'm really there for. But most of that is for my kids. So there you go, guys. Let's just leave that there. Okay, just want to read out a couple of verses of scripture, if I may. Okay, Acts 4:12, and there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. Jesus said in John 14:6, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Some verses there. Time that we've now got, guys, to sort of like work in the field, be about our Father's business. As many of you know, hi there, Kevin. As many of you guys know, Saturday is our day where we are off. We don't do anything there. I'm not Shabbat Shalom in that nonsense. No offense, but I'm not Hebrew rooted. I'm nothing like that. I'm a Gentile, all right? But I just take that day off because that seems to work for me. And then we will be back on Sunday, but there's going to be a bit of a difference on Sunday. I'm in the morning, I'm going to be creating like a post, and there'll be a couple of dozen articles, end time headlines in the morning, the first thing that I do. All right, so you expect that in the morning, and then there'll be a live normal time that we've been doing it today. Then afterwards there will be a post, couple of hours break, there'll be another live. All right, trying to keep that around that hour, which is why I'm going to bounce in DD now, because I want to get used to being in that particular place. And then another post, and then post as and when the Lord puts in my heart. Okay, we've been given more time. We're still here. That means that there's more work to be done. And so that's literally my personal commitment. I wanted to be able to show an evidence to the Lord personally, our faithfulness as a ministry, being persistent, being consistent with everything set against us. Will we still get up when things didn't work out, when they were taking everything down, stealing our views, stealing our subs, and doing everything they're doing with suppressing our work so we don't grow. We're exactly like driftwood, like they've done every single channel that we've ever really had. Will we still be faithful? Will we still be sort of like looking to the Lord? No, we're still going to speak the truth. We're still going to be bold and speak out against these issues. That was something that I personally wanted to do, and evidence to him, as well as doing it 6 days a week. And now we've done that with everything else that's been sort of like going off in and around us. Now we want to be doing more. So prayers for us as a team, for literally going to be seeing a lot more of us covering things in a lot more detail. So thank you very much, our Sherry and our Cher and the rest of the team. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your kindness, for your continued support, for you caring, and just for rocking up and just participating and being a part of all of this. All right. God willing, he'll keep everything going in such said manner until he comes or takes me home. But bless you, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll touch base again should we be here on Sunday. All right now.